Master skills and be the best with Anil Kumar. Here is another very interesting question for your logical and algebraic skills. Let us master the skills and learn new strategies to beat the competition. The question here is Peter has mean M of his quiz score. If Peter scores 11 on the next quiz, his mean will increase by 1. If he scores 11 on each of the next 3 quizzes, his mean will increase by 2. Find the value of M. 4 options are given to you. You can pause the video, answer, and then look into my suggestions. Well, in case you want to learn from me directly, send an email on globalmathinstitute at gmail.com. Our students are right there on the top getting admission to the best universities. So let's read the question once again. Define our variables. We're saying Peter has a mean of M. So we have mean value of M of his quizz's scores. If Peter scores 11 on next quiz, his mean will increase by 1. Number of quizzes, let it be Q. So the total score will be how much? MQ in that case is total score, correct? Perfect. Now what happens if he gets 11 in the next quiz? 11 in the next quiz means the mean will become M plus 1, right? Quiz will become Q plus 1 and total will be MQ plus 11. Makes sense? Because in the next quiz, the score is 11. So that gives us one equation. And the equation for us is M plus 1 times Q plus 1, right, equals to MQ plus 11. You can simplify this, expand, simplify. So we get MQ plus M plus Q plus 1 equals to MQ plus 11. MQ cancel, right, from both the sides. And you're left with M plus Q equals to 11 minus 1, which is 10. Let me call this as equation 1. Make sense? Now let's look into the second condition given to us. If he scores 11 on each of the next 3, so we'll add to the number of quizzes, next 3 means 1 plus 3, 4. His mean will increase by 2, right? So the mean becomes, instead of plus 1, it becomes 2. And quizzes now are 1 plus 3, 4. And the score will be MQ plus. Next 3 is 33, right? 3 11s, so 44. And that gives us an equation M plus 2 times Q plus 4 equals to MQ plus 44. Makes sense? Let's expand. MQ plus 4M plus 2Q plus 8 equals to MQ plus 44. Let's simplify just as we did earlier, right? We get 4M plus 2Q equals to 44 minus 8. 44 minus 8, which is 36. Dividing by 2, we get 2M plus Q equals to 80. Right? Let's call this as equation 2. Perfect. Now, using equation 1 and 2, we can find the answer, right? I'd like you to pause the video, write down the answer. Just take it to the next page for the complete solution. So we get M plus Q equals to 10 as our equation number 1 and 2M plus Q equals to 18 as our equation number 2. So what happens when you do equation 2 minus equation 1? So 2M minus M is M, and here we get 0. 18 minus 10. So m is equal to 8. So that becomes the solution for this particular question. You see how we have formed equation from the given situation and then worked on those system of equations to get the answer. I hope that works. Next question is on inscribed hexagon in a circle. Creative and thinking questions. Here is the second one. Hexagon is inscribed in a circle of radius 2 centimeters. Find the area of the circle not covered by the hexagon. Four choices are given to you. How do we solve this? So, definitely, we know what is the area of the circle. As you can see, let me just sketch, try to find a center here, right? So, let's say this is our center O. So, if I connect the center with two vertices as shown here, we do get a triangle OAB. And this triangle OAB is what kind of a triangle? It is equilateral triangle, right? Perfect. Each side, as you know, will be equal and equal to 60 degrees, correct? So we have an equilateral triangle. Let me draw it separately, slightly bigger now. In this triangle, we are given that the radius is 2, means this side is 2. The other side will also be 2, right? Now, hexagon, each vertex will be 120, right? And half of it is going to be 60. Perfect. Now we got 6 of these triangles, correct? So definitely what we need to find out is area of circle not covered by the hexagon. Means area of circle minus area of 6 triangles. What we are writing here, right? 6 of these triangles. So basically area of circle is pi r square minus area of these triangles, 6 triangles, so 6 of them. And each triangle, if I say that the height is h, in that case it is half, right? Base times height. So let me write base and height first, right? Let's figure out what is base and what is height. Since it is an equilateral triangle, the base has to be 2, right? So this side is 2. So we know base is 2, right? Radius is 2. So we can write pi 2 square, correct? Minus 6 times half times 2, which is the base. What is going to be the height? Well, here we have 90 degrees. So it is going to divide in equal parts. So 1. And height will be equal to, let's write down, height will be equal to square root of 2 square minus 1 square. So height will be equal to square root 3. As you know, this is a special triangle. 60, 30, 90. And in any special triangle, the ratios are 1 to square root 3. So we know that this height should be equal to square root 3. So I'm going to put square root 3 for height. Makes sense? So we can now use the calculator and find the answer for this. So pi times 2 square is 4. So I'll write 4 pi minus, we can simplify this, right? 6 square root 3. So that is the answer. Let's calculate the value to match. So 4 times pi. And from this, we are going to take away 6 times square root 3. That gives me 2.17. So option A is the right option. You get the whole idea, right? So, a couple of things to save your time. One is you should understand what is this 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees right triangle. It's a special triangle. So, here we have sides in the ratio of 1 is to square root 3 is to 2. So, that gives you the triangle. Area of one triangle is half base into height. 6 triangles is times 6. Area of circle is pi r square. And so we got the area which was not covered, right? Which is not shaded. So that is how we are going to solve it. I hope it is absolutely clear. Next question is on combination of two triangles using similar and right triangle concepts. One here is in the figure, two right triangles are shown. AC equals to 20 centimeters, BC is 12 centimeters, DE is 10 centimeters. Angle D equals to angle A. Find the length of A to E. Find the length of A to E. So we have to find this length, A to E. 4 choices are given to you. You can pause the video, answer the question. Now, also, what is not mentioned here is that we have right angle triangles here. So let me also add that angle ABC is equal to 90 degrees. Correct. So we have two right angle triangles given to us. And now we need to find the length of A to E. Since we know two sides of a right angle triangle in ABC, so we know we'll start with triangle ABC, which is a right angle triangle. We can find the length A to B, right? So AB square should be equal to what? Since it is a smaller side as compared to hypotenuse, it should be hypotenuse AC square minus BC square. So we can find what AB square is. AC square is 20 minus 12 square. So AB will be equal to the square root of this, right? Which is 400 minus 144. Calculator is allowed. You can take the help of calculator. 400 minus 144 and then square root your answer. You get 16. So we know that the length A to B is 16. We need to find what A to E is. We can say that A to E is equal to AB minus BE. How do we find BE? You can see that the triangle ABC is similar to triangle DBE. Since we have a common angle, equal angle, and 90 degrees, right? So two angles are equal. Therefore, the triangles are similar. Now, if the triangles are similar, their sides will be in same ratio. Since we need to find E to B, let me write EB first, right? So EB over what is known here is the hypotenuse DE. That should be equal to. Now EB was opposite to the equal angle D, so we'll have to put BC there. Do you understand? Over the hypotenuse, which is A to C. Right? So we know BC is 12, AC is 20. So we know EB is equal to 12 over 20 times D to E, and D is 10, right? Which gives us 6. So we know this side is 6, right? Since we know that E to B is 6 and A to B is 16, now we can find what A to E is, right? So A to E will be 16 minus 6, which is 10. So therefore, the option D is the right option. So that is how we are going to get the correct solution. Sometimes what students will do is they'll put the wrong side, and therefore they might not get the right answer, right? So that is kind of very critical to understand. In this, we know this is a right angle triangle with hypotenuse of 10. The sides are 6 and 8, right? It could have been written the other way, 8 and 6, and then you get a wrong answer. So be careful while doing this question. I hope it makes sense. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and explore our playlist to learn more. We are going to take up three different questions which are based on computer literacy. We'll try to understand how do we write a code for solving a problem. These codes are called pseudocode. Those of you who are preparing for EQAO in grade 9, they will find this set of questions very interesting and useful. You can always send me an email on globalmathinstitute@gmail.com if you need PDF copy of our questions. We are going to answer three questions which will give you a fairly good idea about how do we get these questions right in the test. So here is question number 1, and then we'll show you question number 2, which will involve two variables, and then question number 3, where we are going to calculate the area of a rectangle. So let's begin with the very first problem, which is this pseudocode is written to determine the value of expression 5 less than the number if the user inputs a number. So we'll write a code now which is given to you. Based on this code, there are four multiple choice questions. Number n equals to 0, output enter the number, store user input as number n. And then here something will come which has been missing. Output 5 less than the number is difference. Select the correct line of code to complete this pseudocode. So there are four options. One of them is right, which will go right there in this blank space. You need to pause the video, answer the question. Let's try to understand the pseudocode itself. In the very first statement, we are defining a variable which is number n and initializing it to 0. It is a very important step because sometimes if you don't initialize your variables, they may take up some random value. Next statement is output statement, and whatever is written in inverted commas will be displayed on the screen. So it is displayed on the screen, enter the number, a prompt for the user to enter the number. Store user input as number n. So once the user inputs the number, that number is stored in our initialized variable number n. So the number n has the number which was entered by the user. Then here we have to write a code what to do with this number n, right? The problem is 5 less than the number is what we need to figure out. Then once we do that, then the output is 5 less than the number is difference. So difference is another variable which gets its value from the number inputted by the user. You get the whole idea now. So, what should come here? So, difference is what we need to define. So, difference is 5 minus number n, or B, which is difference is number n minus 5, or C or D, which are number n equals to difference minus 5, difference minus number n equals to 5. Perfect. Since we want to know 5 less than the number, difference should be number minus 5. So this means 5 less than the number is the difference. And that value gets into our variable difference, which is displayed as the answer. 5 less than the number is difference. So I hope you have clearly understood option B is the right option and why it is so. And you have also understood how to write a pseudocode for such a problem. Got it. Now let's take up the solution of question number 2. Question here is, this pseudocode is written to determine if the number is greater than 10 or not. So the code starts with number A equals to 0, number B equals to 10, output, enter the number, store user number as number A, if. So that is if and else conditional statement, if what. And this has to be filled by the four choices given to you. If something, output the number is greater than 10. Else, output the number is not greater than 10. Correct? So that becomes the part of the code which has been indented. Correct. Now you need to select the correct line of code to complete this pseudocode. Four options are given to you. So you have to be careful in selecting. It's not a difficult question at all. I hope you have made the selection. We are looking for the number which is greater than 10, and look at the variable which is taking user's input, right? So number B is 10, number A is what should be greater than B, right? So we want number A to be greater than B, and therefore option A becomes the right option. I hope you have understood, right? So in the first phase, number A is a variable which has been initialized to 0. Number B is the other variable, but it has been initialized with 10. When the user enters a number, that number is stored in variable A, so that is the number which we want to check if it is greater than 10 or not. Perfect. So that's the whole idea. Once you understand the statement, then there is no problem in answering the question. I hope the question is answered and you have understood the concept. Let's take another problem which is similar. Now, here the question is, this pseudocode will be used to determine area of a rectangle if the user inputs its length and width. You know the formula for area is length times width, right? Now, EQA sheet also gives you a formula. So, if somehow, if there is a difficult formula which you don't remember, refer to this sheet. Okay, great. So, here the code starts. Length L equals to 0, width W equals to 0. So in first two lines, we have initialized the two variables length L and width W. Output, enter the value of length L. So user is going to enter some number, store user number in length L. So that number is now associated with the variable length L. Output, enter the value of width W. So this time width has been entered by the user, and store user input as width W, and that is stored in width W. So output, the area of the rectangle is area. So area is a variable which will be outputted here. What is that? You have to now select the correct line of code to complete this pseudocode. Right. So four options again are given to you. Carefully look at them. Area is length into width. So you have to do product of these two, and therefore option A is the right option. The whole idea here is to understand the coding part, how the variables are initialized, how are they associated with values, how are we prompting a user to provide inputs, and how do we print the solution on the screen as an output. I hope this concept is clear. In the next set, we are going to take slightly more difficult questions. The art of problem solving, an important skill for all students taking algebra. We are going to walk you through how do we solve problems by defining variables, writing expressions, relating them in the equations. Our procedure is simple. We'll begin with set of questions in increasing difficulty levels so that you understand each and every step. And then we are going to have multiple sets for you to practice. So let's now begin with solution of word problems. Enjoy the journey of learning with Anil Kumar. Also look for our special offers. So let us begin with the very first problem in this set and see how do we solve word problems after defining the variables and writing relevant equations. Question number 1 here is, the sum of two numbers is 90. The difference between them is 18. Find the numbers. So it says sum of two numbers is 90. So we'll first define our numbers. Let the numbers be x and y. In that case, the sum is 90. So that becomes our first equation. The second statement is the difference between them is 18. So x minus y equals to 18. So that becomes our second statement. So now we have two variables and two equations we can solve and find their value. Best way here is, since you see plus y and minus y, if I add the two equations, so if I add equation 1 with equation 2, what do I get? X plus x is 2x, y minus y is 0, so I'm not writing it, and 90 plus 18 is 108. And therefore, we can get the value of x equals to half of 108, which is 54. So we have found first number, which is x is equal to 54. We can use one of these equations to find y. So we know that x plus y equals to 90, means y is equal to 90 minus x, which is 90 minus 54. And so we get the value of y, which is 10 take away 4 is 6, 8 take away 5 is 3, 36. So we get our solution. So we can write down the solution, which is x equals to 54 and y equals to 36. You can also check that their difference will be 18. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear. Now let's take up the second question, which is very similar. The sum of two numbers is 81. Difference between them is 11. Find the numbers. So clearly you can write down the equations. X plus y, begin with the let statement, is 81 and x minus y is 11. Solve these equations by adding, find the value of x and then find the value of y as we did in question number 1. Here is question number 3, which is also very similar. The sum of two numbers is 62. Difference between them is 38. So this time x plus y is 62 and x minus y is 38. So you can once again solve them, get your answer. Not difficult at all. So now you have understood the basic steps. Let's complicate the statements a bit more. 3 times a number is equal to twice the other number. So we have changed the statement, made it slightly more complicated. So we are talking about two numbers. Let's define them, which is let the numbers be x and y. Defining variables is very important. It also gives you communication marks. Now the first statement is 3 times a number is equal to twice the other number. So 3 times a number means 3 times x, any one of them, right? 3 times a number equals to twice the other number, equals to twice the other number, which is y. So we get our first statement. Second, sum of the number is 15 means x plus y is 15. Find the two numbers. Now in this particular case, we might use slightly different process of solving a pair of equations. Now this pair of equations is also called simultaneous equations. We will solve this by substitution method. So from here, equation 2, we can say that x is what? X is 15 minus y, so we get our equation 3. Now we are going to substitute the value of x in our first equation. So we will write sub 3 in 1. So that means what we are going to get 3 times x, and the value of x is 15 minus y. Clear? Is 2y. Now that results in one equation with just one variable y, which we can now find. Clear? So let's apply the distributive property. 3 times 15 is 45 minus 3y equals to 2y. 45 equals to 2y plus 3y. 45 equals to 5y. 45 over 5, solving equations is an easy process. If you need help, we will provide you with a link where I have very good videos on how do we solve equations. So we get 9 as a value of y. Clear? Once you get 9 as a value of y, you can find x by using equation 3. Perfect. So let's find the value of x. So x is 15 minus y, which is 15 minus 9, which is 6. So we have our answer, and the solution is x equals to 6, y equals to 9. Is that clear to you? You can see that their sum is 15, right? So that is how we can solve question number 4. Now I hope you are ready for slightly more complicated cases. So here is another question, which is the larger of two numbers is 8 more than the smaller. If the larger number is added to 3 times the smaller number, the total is 36. Find the numbers. So in this case, we can actually solve the problem with one variable also and two variables also. So let's do it with two variables as we have done so far. So we'll say x and y are variables. So that becomes a let statement. We have defined the variables. The larger of the two numbers is 8. So we are assuming x is greater than y. So larger of the two numbers is 8 more than smaller. So we get our first equation, which is x equals to 8 more than smaller, y plus 8.
Then it says, if the larger number is added to 3 times the smaller number, the total is 36. Larger number is added to 3 times the smaller. Means larger number is x plus 3 times smaller number is y. We get 36. You get the idea? So that becomes our equation 2. So we have two equations. Forming equation is slightly tricky at this stage, but as you go through our set of videos, we have at least 10 sets here for you. You will understand the whole process. Well, those of you who want to learn directly from me can send an email to globalmathinstitute@gmail.com. Our students are getting admission to the best universities because of their great foundation. Now, let us see how do we solve it further. Now, x is y plus 8, x plus 3y is 36. So, we can substitute the value of x from 1 to 2, right? So, we'll say sub 1 in 2. If you do that, x is y plus 8, we get y plus 8 plus 3y equals to 36. Now, y plus 3y is 4y. We'll take 8 to the other side, constant. And so we get 4y equals to 36 minus 8. 16 minus 8 is 8 and we get 28. Dividing 28 by 4, we get the value of y, which is 28 divided by 4, that is 7. Once you find y, you can use equation 1 and find the value of x, which is y plus 8, right? So which is 7 plus 8 or 15, right? So we get our solution. X is equal to 15 and y is equal to 7. Is that clear to you? Slightly difficult question, but if you read carefully, define your variables, it is not very difficult to answer. Let's look into the last question of this set. It says, the sum of two numbers is 54. Twice the smaller number is 9 more than the larger. Find the numbers. So again, our variables are x and y. For the numbers, correct? So different kind of let statements you can always write. Now, the sum of two numbers is 54, means x plus y is 54. Twice the smaller means 2 times x. Twice the smaller is 9 more than the larger. So it is 9 more than the larger. So we are saying y is greater than x, right? So twice the smaller is 9 more than the larger. Perfect. So we get our equation. Now, in this case, what we will do is 2x equals to y plus 9, and the first one is x plus y is 54. Now, from the first one, we can isolate y. Correct? So, we get y equals to 54 minus x. We'll call this as our equation number 3. First two are given to you. And we are going to substitute this value of y in 2. Is that okay? And that was our equation 1. So we get what? We get 2x equals to the y value of 54 minus x, and we get plus 9. Is that clear to you? So what we did here, we substitute 3 in 2. So there are different ways of solving simultaneous equation. That is a pair of linear equations. Now bring x to left hand side. So you get 2x plus x equals to 54 plus 9. And now we can solve for x. Clear? So 2x plus x is 3x. And 54 plus 9 is 63. Okay? So x will be 63 by 3. So x is equals to 21. So we got the value of x. Now we can find what y is, since we know y is 54 minus x. So we get the value of y as 54 minus x, which is 54 minus 21, which is when you take away 3 and 3. So y is 33. So we get our answer. X is 21 and y is 33. Makes sense? So with that, we have solved all the 6 problems, and I hope you have understood the strategy of solving word problems.
Now, let us also review the art of solving equations. It is an integral part of any solution to a problem. We have 6 questions here to work with. The common concept will be to take a lowest common denominator and then get rid of fractions. Let us see how do we solve all these questions with this concept. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In case you want to learn from me, feel free to send an email on globalmathinstitute@gmail.com. Let's begin with the solution of these questions one by one. The very first one here is 2x over 3 minus 5x over 12 equals to 3 over 8. So let's find the lowest common denominator. Now, there are three numbers to work with. Strategy which I use is kind of like this. Write down the three numbers which are 3, 12, and 8. Now, two of them can be divided by 3, for example. So, let's take out those factors. 3 goes 1 times, 12 goes 4 times, 8 you cannot divide by 3. So, just leave it as such. And now, 4 and 8, 4 is a common factor which we can take it out. So 1 remains, 4 times 1 and 4 times 2 is 8. So in this particular case, the lowest common denominator is 3 times 4 times 2, right? Which is 24. You get the idea. So many times as it is simpler to see the lowest common denominator, visualize and write it down. So some of you could have directly written lowest common denominator as 24, right? But here is a good method to do it. Perfect. Now let's solve the question. We have 2x over 3 minus 5x over 12 equals to 3 over 8. Since the lowest common denominator is 24, we'll multiply each term with 24, right? So think like this. 24 times 2x over 3 minus 24 times 5x over 12 equals to 24 times 3 over 8. Now when you do that, you can see that 3 goes 8 times in 24, 12 goes twice, and 8 goes 3 times, right? So we can now multiply 8 with 2x and rewrite the term which will be 16x minus 2 times 5 is 10x equals to 3 times 3 as 9. You get the idea. So we get 6x minus 10x equals to 9. And now 16x minus 10x is 6x. So we get 6x equals to 9, and dividing by 6 we get x equals to 9 over 6. Both can be further simplified dividing by 3, so we get 3 over 2 as the answer. So our solution in this particular case is x is equal to 3 by 2. Makes sense, right? So I hope you have understood the whole process. We are going to apply this strategy in 6 questions, one by one. Question number 2. Now in this case, what you're seeing is your lowest common denominator, 3, 6 and 3. So clearly the lowest common denominator is 6, right? So you need not do that ladder division method, but I've shared that with you so that if the numbers are difficult to work with, you could. So let's rewrite the question, which for us is 2x minus 1 over 3 minus x plus 3 over 6 equals to 1 over 3. Each term is going to be multiplied by 6. You see, each term is being multiplied by 6. So when you do that, now when I say 2x minus 1, so think like this, right? Each term, you get the whole idea, right? So here, this is important to place the brackets. Now you can see that 6 will go twice with 3, and this 6 will cancel, and here again it will go 2 times. So what we get is 2 times 2x minus 1 minus within brackets x plus 3 equals to 2. Now you open the brackets. So we get 4x minus 2 minus x and minus 3. So negative sign will change the signs, right? Equals to 2. Combine the x's, 4x minus x is 3x, right? And take the numbers on the right hand side. So get 2 plus 2 plus 3, right? Which is 4 plus 3 is 7. And now you can find what x is. So 3x equals to 7. Let's rewrite. We got 3x equals to 7, or x is equal to 7 over 3. So that becomes the solution for this particular question. I hope it makes sense, right? So basically what we did, we multiplied each term with the lowest common denominator 6. And then we had 2 times 2x minus 1, 1 time x plus 3, or the number itself, equals to 2. Once you open the bracket, it is important to see that with this negative sign, both signs changes. You see that both becomes negative, right? Otherwise, you land up with the wrong answer. Now 4x minus x is 3x, and here we have 2 plus 3, which is 7. So you could get answer in fractions as we got in this particular case. Perfect. Now let's take up the next question, which is question number 3. It is slightly different since we have 2 outside and we have 5x plus 9 and 2 over 3. So in this case, what you can do is you can open the bracket first. So let's open the bracket. So when you open the bracket, which is 2 times 5x minus plus divided by 2 over 2 over 3 equals to x over 3. When you open the bracket, you get 10x over 9 plus 4 over 3 equals to x over 3. Now in this case, what is the lowest common denominator? It is 9. So since the lowest common denominator is equal to 9, we are going to multiply each term with 9. So this time I'm not writing 9 everywhere, right? Like normally I will do times 9, times 9 and times 9. That is for your reference, correct? But you can do this in your mind also. And when you do that, what do you get? 9 and 9 cancel, you get 10x, right? Plus 9 goes 3 times, and 3 times 4 is 12 equals to 3x. You see that? So what I did a bit of mental math here, right? 9 and 9 cancels, it was just 1, correct? Here it went 3 times, so 3 times 4 is 12. This also went 3 times x is 3x. Now we can bring the x's together. So we have 10x minus 3x equals to 12, and that gives you 7x equals to 12, and therefore, what is the answer? Well, 7x is equal to 12 means x is equal to 12 over 7. So that becomes the answer for this particular question. Hope it makes sense, right? Let's take up the next question now, which is slightly different from what we had been doing. Now here we have a proportion type an equation, right? So we'll call this as a proportion type, right? So here you could cross multiply. So we could write this statement as 4 times 1 plus x equals to 3 times 1 minus x. You get the idea. So this proportion type cross multiply and then you get this. It is as good as multiplying both the terms with 1 minus x times 1 plus x, right? Now open the bracket and solve. So you get 4 plus 4x equals to 3 minus 3x. So bring the x's together, 4x plus 3x, and the numbers on the right hand side, correct? So we get 7x equals to minus 1, x equals to minus 1 over 7, correct? So that becomes the solution in this particular case. Making sense, right? Feel free to write your suggestions and comments. In case you want to learn directly from me, you may send an email on globalmathinstitute@gmail.com. Let's take the next question, which is 2x plus 1 over 8 minus x minus 1 over 3 equals to 5 over 24. Well, clearly, the lowest common denominator in this case is 24. Multiply each term with 24. What will you get? Well, the 8 will cancel and you get to multiply 2x plus 1 with 3, right? Here, x minus 1 will be multiplied by 8. And on the right hand side 24 gets cancelled, you get only 5. You see, so with learning of this concept, what we can do is we can straight away write down the statement as given here. That saves a lot of time, but you can do this only after you understand how we have done the previous few examples. Perfect. Now the next step is open the bracket, apply the distributive property. So 3 times 2x will be 6x plus 3 minus 8x minus minus becomes plus 8 equals to 5. Work with variables on one side, right? And the numbers on the other side, right? Okay. 6x minus 8x is minus 2x. And here 5 minus 3 is 2. And 2 minus 8 is minus 6. And therefore x is minus 6 over minus 2. Minus minus becomes positive. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And so we get an answer which is x equals to 3. Makes sense? Perfect. The last question for you. Now this last question, find out the lowest common denominator. 5, 4 and 20, right? So we know the lowest common denominator is 20 for us. So we have x minus 1 over 4 minus 2x minus 3 over 5 equals to 1 over 20. When you multiply each term with 20, what happens? Well, it becomes 5 times x minus 1 minus 4 times 2x minus 3 equals to 1. Makes sense? So try to practice this way. It is faster. Now you open the bracket. So you get 5x minus 5 minus 8x plus 12 equals to 1. So 5x minus 8x remains on this side, 1 plus 5 minus 12 on the other side, right? So we can now simplify this. 5x minus 8x is minus 3x. And here we have 1 plus 5 is 6, 6 minus 12 is minus 6. And now x equals to minus 6 by minus 3 and x is equal to 2. So x equals to 2 becomes our solution in this particular case. I hope you have understood the method of solving all these questions. So all 6 of them have been solved. I hope you have understood this strategy. Feel free to write your comment, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your valuable time and all the best.